There, yeah. Right, let's move on to the next one. Oh. Move on to the next one here. So Natalie, this is just an example. Natalie recently moved jobs. She's now earning 56,000 per annum. She has, you know what per annum is? Per year, yeah. She has a standard rate cut-off point of 32,800. Do you ever see a standard rate cut-off point before?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know what to do with it? Okay, it doesn't matter, we'll go through it now. She pays tax at a standard rate of 20%. She pays 41% on the remainder of her earnings. She has no other deductions. Sorry, you recruit. Go on, yeah, just sit there. Right, zero down. Okay, so I'm just moving. You didn't miss anything, Alan, at all. Just going on to this example. We're talking about income tax and stuff. Is that okay? How are you with that? Yeah, we'll go through a few examples here and here. So here, this example, Natalie recently moved jobs. She's now earning 56,000 per annum. She has a standard rate cut-off point of 32,800. She pays tax at a standard rate of 20%. She pays 41% of the remainder of earnings. She has no other deductions. She has no tax credits due. Okay. So the first thing we do, this is the first thing we do. Do our gross pay minus. Do you know what SRCOP stands for here in this case? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's just short. If you want to write that in, just in case you forget, standard rate cut-off point. Or you're just too lazy to write it all out. Okay, so our gross pay, we have to look at the question. We see she's now earning 56,000 per annum. This is her gross pay, the amount she's earning. Okay, so gross pay is 56,000. Our standard rate cut-off point is what, Emma?
32,800.
That's given in the question, Alan. To see, she has a standard rate cut-off point is 32,800. Yeah. So I subtract 32,800 from that, and I'm left with 23,200. Now here. What this number here is charged at the low rate, which is what, Amy? 20%. The low rate or standard rate. Okay. The number when you subtract them, this is charged at the high rate, and the high rate here in the question here, Alan, is what?
0.141.
Yeah, it's 41%, and we just get the decimal form of that. So, are you okay with turning percentages into decimals, Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 20%, that's 41%. We multiply that by 0.2, we get 6720. We multiply 23,800 by 0.41, we get 9,758. Are you okay with it here so far? We add these two numbers. When we add them, we get this number. What is this number, Emma?
Her growth.
Gross tax. Do you know what gross tax is, Alan?
Tax you get back after the rates are done, is it?
No, gross tax is, I wrote down, it's just tax before any tax before credits are deducted.
Alright.
Alright. So what they're saying is the government say you have to pay 16,000 tax, but then they say, okay, we'll give you some money off. So when you add these two numbers, this is called our gross tax. What we do with the gross tax, we take away our tax credit. Okay? What's our tax credit in this question here, Amy? No, I'm looking for a number. What? 0, yeah, because she says she has no tax credits. So what we do is we take away nothing. Okay? Sorry, I know the thing is in your way. Maybe I can hide that. So we take away nothing. So what's 6,478 minus nothing? Well, it's the same. And the answer I get is called my net tax or tax payable. They mean the same thing. This is the amount of tax I actually have to pay. You okay with that? Yeah? So that's the amount of tax I have to pay. Now I need to find my, net income. Net income is your gross pay minus all the deductions. Okay? So my gross pay was what, Alan?
5,000.
56,000.
6,000.
Yeah.
56,000.
Minus any deduction. Our only deduction here is tax. So we'll take away the tax. And then our answer is we're left with our net pay. You okay with that? Yeah? You okay with that starting off? Right, we'll go on to the next one. Ian earns 37,000 a year. Okay, so what you should try and do is try and keep this pattern here. Gross pay minus standard rate cut-off point. Try and follow these steps. Do this first. Then you're kind of working across the page. So this is all at the low rate. This is also the high rate, and work down then. Okay, every question you should kind of have it in that. You don't have to, but I think it could be easier to look at. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Right, Ian earns 37,000 a year. Standard rate cut-off point is 37,400. Standard rate of tax, or lower rate, is 21%. His tax credit is 21%. His union fees are 450, and his health insurance is 350. He's no other deductions. Right, just one thing to note. Anything funny about this one here, Emma? Okay, so what you have to do here, Alan, you have to figure out what your gross pay, what your standard rate cut-off point, figure out what they gave you in the question. So do you see the gross pay is 37,000 here?
Yeah.
Standard rate cut-off point is 37,400. Do you see that, Emma? Yeah? Okay, something different. See standard rate cut-off point here, Amy? That's bigger than the gross pay. Do you see that here? If that happens, don't worry about the high rate of tax. You just do the low rate of tax at the gross pay. Are you okay with that? Alan?
Just bring it down lower than the.
Yeah, it's because he's not. It's kind of like he's not earning enough to pay high rate of tax.
Yeah.
So they just charge tax at the low rate, on the gross pay, not on the standard rate cut point, on the gross pay. So then we get 20% of it's 21% here, so multiply by 0.21, we get 770. You okay with that?
Yeah.
We don't have any higher rate here, so we don't. So we don't do anything. So that means we add this and nothing, and we get 770. And this is our gross tax. What's our tax credit in the question, Amy? 100. And what do we do to the gross tax, or what do we do to tax credits, Alan, from the gross tax? Take it away. So 770 minus 21, and we're left with 5670, and this is our net tax. Okay. Now we want to calculate our net pay. Now our net pay, or take-home pay, is your gross pay minus all deductions. Okay. So our gross pay is 37,000 here from the question. You can see it there. Now we have to just add up all our deductions. Our first deduction is our tax that we just calculated there. Do you see that? Our next one is union fees, I think, which came from union at 450. That's another deduction. And health was 350. So we add all them up and we take it away from 37,000 and we get 30,350. Sorry. Just make sure You put in a euro sign at the real end. Oh, crap. You fill that in the paper, sorry. Just make sure you have a euro sign, because you might lose marks over that. Are you okay with this so far? Yeah? Alan, you alright?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get a chair. Sit. We're okay. Right. Next example. And this is a tough one. Well, this is like one you'd get. Paul has a standard rate cut-off point of 37,400. Standard rate of tax is 20%. The higher rate is 41%. If Paul's gross tax is 12,396, what is their gross income to the nearest cent? Right. I said try and keep this pattern, okay? So we start off with their gross pay minus standard rate cut-off point. What's our gross pay in the question, Alan?
Nothing.
Yeah, we don't know, okay? So anytime we don't know anything in maths, what we usually call it? X. So we'll just call the gross pay X. And again, we're just going to follow, this is like your concrete example. We're following this pattern the whole way down, okay? Except this time, there's going to be an X. So what do we do to the standard rate cut-off point? We take it away from the gross pay, don't we? So we're going to do X minus 35,400. Because this is our standard rate cut-off point. It came from the question there. Do you see that? So what is X minus 35,400? Well, it's just X minus 35,400. You okay with that? Alan, you alright with that?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the next thing we done here in this question? We calculated the low rate on this fella, and on the high rate we calculated the high rate on this fella. So we're going to calculate the low rate on this, which is, what's the low rate here? 20%. Yeah? So we multiply that by 0.2. Why 0.2, Alan? It's 0.2, yeah. And here, we multiply this fella by, at the high rate, which is, what's the high rate here, Emma? 41%. Put it into the decimal, which is 0.41. Now, this is you just have to go careful here, because you might go wrong here. So we treat this as one number. See this X minus 35,400? We just treat that as one number. So we multiply 0.41 by all of that. Okay, see what I do? I just wrote the 0.41 in front. I just prefer it that way. So 0.41 by X is what, Amy? Yeah, you okay with that, Alan? 2 by X is 2X. 0.41 by X is that. So then 0.41 by minus 35,400 is minus 14,350. Right, Emma, what did we do back here when we got these two numbers? Added them. Let's do exactly the same thing here. Add this fella and all of this fella. So it's 7,000 plus 0.41x minus 14350. You okay with that? And then we just put the x first. It doesn't matter. 0.41x minus, then we do 7,000 minus 14,350. That's minus 7,350. You do that in the calculator. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I said stop here. Why? Let's go back to the question. If Paula's gross tax, where are we? Paula's standard rate is that. If Paula's gross tax is 12,396. Okay, what did they tell us here in the question? What do we know about, what are we given here in the question? We're given standard rate cut-off point, aren't we? What else are we given?
Higher and low.
Yeah, high and low. What else are we given?
Gross tax.
Gross tax, okay. This is gross tax over here, isn't it? Because when we add these two fellas, what do we get, Alan?
Gross tax.
Okay. So when we add, when we add these two fellas, what do we get, Alan?
Gross tax.
Gross tax. So this is my gross tax. But I know my gross tax is equal to what, Alan? From the question. Yeah, go on.
12,396.
Yeah. So that means that this fella here is equal to 12,396. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Now all I'm doing is solving for x. So I'm going to bring that fella across. He becomes plus 7350. So 0.41x is equal to 19746. Who am I looking for on the one? I'm looking for x. So this is just, if you get stuck, if you find decimal confusing, 2x is equal to 4. How do I find x, Alan?
4 over 2.
4 over 2. You divide by the number in front of x. So let's do exactly the same thing here. Divide by the number in front of x. What's the number in front of x?
0.
41. So we divide by 0.41, and that'll give you your answer to 0.9756. And to two decimal places, or sorry, to the nearest cent, it's 0.98. You okay with that? Do you see that before?
Yeah.
Yeah? You know all this, Alan, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen it
Alright, okay. Do you want to go up and finish off teaching it?
before. No.
No. Alright, okay. Right, next example is PRSI. Do you know what PRSI is? It's kind of like a, what is it? Social related charge, or I don't even know what it stands for. It's something you have to pay off your wage. Okay? So Chloe earns €650 per week. She is in class A1. Don't worry about that. It's just type of, they'll give you the numbers here anyway, which has the following rates. Calculate her PRSI payment for this week. So to read this table, what's the difference between employee and employer, Amy? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Yeah, employee is like the boss. Employer is like the boss. Yeah, employee is like the person working for the boss. Yeah. So calculate her PRSI. Is she an employee or an employer? Employee. Yeah. So to read this table, we read it going across the way. On the first €127, she pays nothing, and on the rest she pays 4%. So what we do is, what's her weekly wage? It's €650. Yeah. We take away €127. Why? Because we know she pays 0 at 127, and she pays nothing on this. Then on what's left on the balance, she pays 4%. So we multiply this by 0.04. Why 0.4, Emma?
We change it into the.
Yeah. Are you okay with that, Ellen? Yeah? Equals 20.92. So then Chloe's PR, so then you add these together, which is nothing, and you see that Chloe's PRSI is €20.92. You okay with that? Right. Employer. Okay, this is the same thing except we're using these numbers, 10.75 and 10.75. So we subtract 127 and multiply that by 0.1075. Do you know where I got that number, Emma?
Put 10.75 into calculator divide by 100.
Yeah, exactly. Divide by 100 to get that number. Yeah, and then do the same thing. That multiply by that. You get the thing. You get an answer for both them, and you add them. You add them all up, and we get €69.88. So that's what the boss has to pay for her a week. Now, the total PRSI is just add employee plus employer, and you get that. You okay with that? Just note about PRSI. This is different to tax. Okay, this is another deduction on top of tax. Are you with me? This is, back here on these questions. PRSI is nothing got to do with in here. It's another deduction. You okay with that? And another deduction is USC. Do you know what USC stands for?
No.
Any social care, yeah. Do you do business?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Right, James and Celine have a combined annual income of 152 grand. They pay tax at 20% on the first 65,600 they earn, and 41% on the remainder. They have an annual tax credit of 3,400. They both pay PRSI at class A1 rates. Their total union fees amount to 704, and their total pension contributions are 5,063. Okay, a lot of information there. What is their total PRSI payment for the year? Okay, if we zoom in, you'll be given a table. If we just zoom in on that, this table, just watch out for something like this, the weekly earnings. Okay, just watch out for weekly. And we were given their wage in yearly. Do you see that? So what we have to do is to calculate the PRSI is how many weeks in a year? 52. So you multiply this number, which is 127, by 52, and you get 6,604. Then it's exactly the same as here. We subtract from the wage, and we pay nothing on this according to the table there. Do you see that? Always be reading the table. Don't assume it's nothing. See this first 127, we pay nothing on that. That's why we don't multiply anything by that. Then on the remainder we pay 4%, which is that multiplied by 0.4, which is 5815.84, and that's PRSI. You okay with that? Next thing is universal social charge. Do you know how to do this one, Alan?
No.
Okay, this one's just a little bit different. So what we do, and again, see anytime we're calculating USC and PRSI, we'll just write this down. You're always calculating it on the gross pay.
What's the
It's always on the gross pay. See that we're always dealing with the 152,000. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's do the USC. So for the USC, all we do is see. Let's just do the first line here. So for 2% on the first 10,036 euro. All we do is our salary minus 10,036. You with me? And we get 2% of this number. So we multiply that by 0.02 and we get him. You okay with that? We subtract them and we get 141,964. Ignore this number. Okay, this is no good to us. Are you with me? Then we go to this fella on the next 5,980. So we subtract 5,980 from this number. But on this 5,980, we get 4% of it. So 4% of this number. So multiply that by 0.04. Yeah? We subtract them, and this is the remainder or the balance. So what percentage do we get of the balance? We get 7%. So we multiply the balance by 0.07 and we get this number, and we add the three of them up, and that's my total USC. The trick is, once you subtract the first fella, ignore this number. You with me? We don't do answer to this number. Okay at that on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Any questions there before we move on? Right, and again, calculate their tax payable. So again, finding their tax payable. We do the same thing as before. Gross tax minus standard rate cut-off point. This is at the low rate, this is at the high rate. We add them up. When we add them up, what do we get, Emma? What's this called?
Gross tax.
What do we take away then, Emmy? And then what's left out, and what do we get after we do that? Tax payable or net tax, yeah. Okay, now calculate the net income. What is their combined net income for the year? So we do net income is equal to gross pay minus all deductions and tax. So our gross pay was 152,000. Gross pay is 152,000. Okay, what's our first deduction? Our first deduction was our PRSI, which was we got from there. Second deduction was USC. Yeah, that's another deduction. And then the third one was the net tax. Are you with me? We add all them up and subtract it from 152,000 and we get 91,791. Any questions on that? Alan?
No.
Happy enough?
Yeah.
Amy? Yeah. Okay. VAT. How are you with VAT? Do you want to get VAT or something? Okay, so Claire sees a handbag in shop window. Sign says €250 plus VAT at 21%. So does this include VAT or not include VAT? Not included. So we have to find 21% of 250, then add it on. So how would you get 21% of something else? There's a few ways you can do it. How would you do it? Sorry?
5 by 100, is it? Put it over like 100.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Put it over 100 and multiply it on the calculator. Or multiply by 0.21 for 21%. There's a few ways. How would you do it? How would you do it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's all I've done there. Multiply by 21, divide by 100. Then to find the total price, just add it on. Can we move on? Craig buys his boyfriend. Craig a boy or girl? No, that's fine. Craig buys his boyfriend birthday present that costs €215.65, including VAT at 13.5%. Okay, so this does this include VAT or not include VAT, Alan?
Include. Or
It-
no, doesn't.
No, it does, yeah, including VAT.
Or,
Yeah. What was the original bill before VAT was added? Okay. So original price before anything, we'll call it 100%. Okay. How much? So then, if I add how much tax is on it, there's 13.5%. So the original plus VAT is equal to 113.5%. Do you see what I did there? Amy, are you with me? No? No. So speak up if any you don't get it. So what I'm saying is, anytime I buy something, I'm going to call it 100% in this case. Okay? Just go with it for a minute and see if you get it. Okay? And call it 100%. Then, if I add VAT onto something, Amy, is it going to be bigger or smaller? Bigger. And we're going to add on 13.5%. So the original plus VAT is 113.5%. You okay with that? Okay, I know you're not, but I'll get to the end and see if you get it then, okay? So see this price here. Does this include VAT or not include VAT? Include it. So I'm going to let 113.5% equals €215.65. Okay? I'll go through this again. And the trick here is to get 1%, right? So how do I turn any number into 1? What number do I divide by 2 to get 1? 2, yeah. What number do I divide by 5 to get 1 now? 5, yeah. So what the trick is here, divide both sides by whatever number this is here. Okay? So 113.5 is there, so I'll divide both sides by 113.5. Why, Amy? Because that divided by that will give me 1. Okay. The original cost of anything, Amy, is we call it 100%. Okay? So I have 1%. How would I find 100%? Yeah, multiply that by 100. But if I multiply this fella by 100, I have to multiply him by 100. Are you with me? So that means 100% is equal to €190. That's my original price. Right, I'm going to take questions on that, Amy. Emma, do you get what I'm doing here, no?
Yeah.
I'm saying before I add tax or anything, Amy, I'm going to call something 100%. It's just 1, yeah? So then, if I'm going to add in tax, it's obviously going to be a bigger number, isn't it? So how much bigger is it going to be here, Alan? It's going to be...
13.5.
Yeah, so the original price plus VAT is equal to 113.5. Do you know where that number came from, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, do you get why I called it 100, no?
So is that 100% for everything, the original price?
Sorry?
Is that for every question, the original price would be 100%?
Yeah, the original price is always 100, yeah. Well, it's a little bit different. I have an example where it's not. But yeah, the original price is always 100, yeah? Original price is always 100. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then, just say tax was 27%. How would the original plus VAT be here? Oh yeah, 127%, yeah. So then what you do is, you
You basically saying, let's say then, like if you had to minus the VAT, let's say if it was 20, you just bring it down to
80.
VAT, yeah, just down to 80.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, minus the VAT would be 100 minus 20, which would be 80. Yeah? So I know that this number includes VAT, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, this €215 equal to 113.5. And the trick here is divide both sides by whatever number this is. Why? So we can get 1%. Because we have 1%, we can find 100%, we can find 20, we can find anything. Because it's easy, we just multiply it by whatever we want. Why do we multiply by 100 here, Alan?
To get 1%. Or no, to Get the 100%.
to get the 100%. The original, because we know the original cost price is equal to 100%, so we multiply both sides by 100. You okay with that, Amy? Emma?
Yeah.
You sure, Alan? Any questions before we move on? Right. Una bought a new TV for $484. When she looked at the receipt, she noticed the amount of VAT charged was 84. What rate of VAT was charged? Okay. Does 484 include VAT here? Yeah? Why? Why, Amy?
Because the amount of VAT charged.
Yeah, it was charged 84. But there's kind of just a little bit of common sense. You wouldn't be allowed to leave the shop without paying the VAT. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah, so that includes it. So we know the VAT is 84. So what was the cost before the VAT? Well, it was 484 minus 84 is 400. So we'll express VAT as a percentage of the original cost. Okay, that's how we'll find out what rate of VAT was charged. We'll put the VAT over the cost without VAT. Do you get that? Amy? You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. So VAT, we know, was €84 here. And what was the cost without VAT, Alan? 400. So put that as a fraction, multiply it by 100. And you do that in the calculator and you get 21%. Okay with that? Right, move on. Asset receives an invoice for goods purchased. The total amount on the invoice is €500. If he pays within 21 days, he will receive a discount of 5%. Calculate the amount that asset must pay if he pays within 21 days. Do you know how to find 5% of something? Yeah. And then what, Alan? We'll take it away. That's the discount he'll get. Amy, do you know how to get 5% of something?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to dwell on this if you find it okay. Are you sure you? Yeah? Can we move on? Right, percentage and profit and loss. Do you know what markup and margin is? Do you ever hear them? You do business, Amy. What's the difference between them? Okay, yeah. Just if you just want to write down the sheet, you have to know these two. They're not in the log. These formulas aren't in the log tables. I think we're on the next page, Alan. Yeah, top left there. You have to learn them off. So one of them is profit over cost price. The other one is profit over selling price. Okay? My tip would be, the way I learn it is margin is selling price. That means the other must be, markup must be cost price. So whatever way you want to learn them. Okay? So I just want to talk through this example here. Okay, so Nick buys a DVD box set for €75 online and then sells it for 100. What's the cost price here? €75. Okay, that, Alan? Selling price, Alan? In the question, read the top two lines.
Oh, selling price when he sells it second, like.
Yeah, when he sells it second, yeah. Yeah, sorry. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, selling price, the profit made. How much profit, Emma?
€25.
Yeah, you okay with that, Amy? 175. Okay, percentage markup. That's going to be profit over cost price. So the profit was 25 over cost price was 75. Multiply by 100 and you get 33 and a third. Margin is profit over selling price, so it's 25 over 100 multiplied by 100. You okay with that? Which one of them which is bigger, the markup or margin? Yeah, markup is nearly always bigger. You okay with that? Actually, I think it's always bigger. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's always bigger. Do you see that, Alan? Because 33 and a third is bigger than 25%. Right. Derek bought a TV from a shop for 1,140. percentage margin for the shop on this TV was 25%. What was the original cost of the TV? Right, any ideas how to do it? Okay. What's the original cost here? Do we know the original cost? Does it tell us in the question?
No.
If we don't know something in maths, what would we call it?
X.
Okay, we'll just call it X. Right? What else are we told in the question?
Bought for 1,040.
Yeah. What else?
Percentage margin of the shop is 25%.
Yeah. The percent margin is 25%. So margin is profit over selling price by 100. So we know in this case it's equal to 25%. You okay with that, Amy? How do I find my profit? Well, profit is selling price minus cost price, isn't it? What's my selling price, Emma?
100 or 1,100.
Yeah, minus my cost price, which is what, Alan? X, because we haven't got it. Right. We know profit over selling price by 100 equals 25, yeah? Because it told us in the question. So all I do is fill in for it, kick out profit, and I'll stick in this number minus X. You okay with that? You okay? You know where I got that, Amy? That's my profit. Kick out the selling price, Emma, and I'll stick in 1,140. Multiply by 100 equals 25. Why equals 25, Alan?
That's the percentage you're given.
Yeah, it's percentage given the question, yeah. So then just actually you can scribble it. Will you just scribble that out? That makes no sense there. I was going doing something different. So 1,140 minus x all over 104 by 100 all over 1 equals 25. How do you multiply fractions, Amy? Yeah, top by top, yeah. Top by top, bottom by bottom. So top 100 by all of this is equal to 100 by all of that. And 1 by 1140 is just 1140. You alright with that, Alan?
Yeah.
So I just multiply that by that, give me him. 100 by minus x gives me minus 100x all over 1140 equals 25. I just took 10 out of common in both. I took 10 out of them. See what I did there? 10. I took. Amy, did you see that? You sure?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah, you took a 0.
Yeah, I just took a 0. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I divided by 0. Now, I have a fraction equal to fraction. What can I do, Emma? Yeah. When can I cross multiply Alan? Sorry, Alan. I can only cross multiply when I have one fraction equal to what, Emma? Yeah, one fraction. Okay, see here I have one fraction. See, that's one fraction.
Yeah.
Equal to.
Well, yeah, like you kind of saying you have to put the 1 underneath it.
Yeah. But I can. What I'm trying to say is I couldn't have 3 over 5 plus something. It has to be one fraction.
Yeah.
I can't have this, for example. I can't have 3 all over. I can't cross multiply there because here I have 2 fractions. You with me?
Right.
Did you get that?
Oh yeah, like you can.
So that's one fraction. That's
You could multiply 3 by 25 over 1 there.
No.
Oh yeah,
no.
yeah, I know that.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by one fraction. But I can't do that because I have 2 fractions equal to one fraction there. Yeah. So let me rub that out. Right. So 25 by the bottom fella here, and this fella by 1. Are you okay with that? Yeah. So where am I now? Oh yeah, here. I just multiply him by. This is just calculator work. And what are we solving for here at the real end? X. Do you know how to find x out of that?
Yeah.
You sure? Yeah. Any questions on that before I move on? So if we don't know on something in math, we'll call it x. Is that okay, Alan?
Yeah.
Right. The second part of the question was, in a sale, the shop manager decided to sell the TV at a markup of 15%. What is the new profit margin? Okay. So just be careful here now. The shop manager decided to sell the TV at a markup of 15%.
So 15 units.
Oh, well, it was 25 the last time, wasn't
I thought you said markup's always bigger.
it? Markup is bigger.
Oh, well then.
Oh, sorry. when I said markup is bigger, Alan, what I meant was if. Sorry, explain it. Actually, no, I don't understand. Say that again, Alan.
Do you know how you said like, you know, it says the new profit we're going to make. They're also going to. Oh right, so you're actually going down 10% in profit, are you?
Yeah, I'm going down 10%.
Oh right,
Yeah, it's the question. It's the question that's going down 10%.
Oh right,
Okay, so sells the TV at a markup of 15%. What is the new profit? So we're talking about markup this time. Okay, so I'm just before I do anything, I'm going to write out make sure I have the right formula. Yeah. And I know when I work this out, I want it to equal to what? 15%. Yeah. So let's do my profit first. Profit is selling price minus cost price. Do I know the cost price, Emma?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it here in part 1, down there near about 855. Do I know the new selling price, Alan?
No.
No. So what will I call it, Amy? X. So it's going to be X minus 855. That's my profit. This is my formula. Profit over cost price by 100 equals 15%. Kick out profit. I'll stick in what, Emma?
X minus 800.
Yeah. And my cost price then, all over my cost price, Alan, is what?
855.
855 multiplied by 100 over 1, and that'll be equal to 15. Why 15, Amy? Yeah, we're told here in the question the new markup will be 15%. So just let it equal to 15. Are you okay with multiplying this? Are you okay with the rest of this here? Are you okay with, I have a fraction equal fraction. What do we do here, Alan?
15 on 1.
Yeah, and multiply him by him and all of this top fella by him. And does it matter which side you do put on the left or right? No, it doesn't matter. Whatever you prefer. I just like having X on the left. So X, what does my X stand for here in this case, Emma? It stands for my selling price equals 983.25. Right, let's go back to the question again. What is the new profit margin? There's a lot of work on this. Okay, so we have to find the profit margin. Before I do anything, I'm just going to write down the formula. Margin is equal to profit over selling price by 100. Yeah? Do I know the profit? Well, I do, because I found my selling price, which is 983.25 minus that. Yeah? So all I do is kick out profit, stick in him, kick out selling price, stick in the selling price here, and multiply by 100. So this is all calculator work. I'll get 13.0437. I'll round that to 13%. I think it said to nearest percentage. Okay, no, I'm just rounded that to the nearest percentage. Are you okay with that? Any questions? I think the next one's just a little bit harder. Yeah, it is. Right. Here's another type of one. It's a different way it's asked, and it's a different way to do it. Paula has a business farm supply. Did you see this example before? No, it's in your book. The company's policy is to sell all goods at a cost plus 20% markup. If she sells fertilizer for €15, including a 20% markup, calculate the cost price of the fertilizer. Okay. Before I start, I'm just going to write down the formula. I might need it, but I'm just going to write it down anyway. So markup here. Markup is just the cost plus the profit. Are you with me? So the cost of something, Amy, is always 100%. Yeah? My profit here in this case is 20%. Yeah? So my selling price is going to be 120%. Are you with me there? Are you sure? What am I selling them for? The actual amount. I'm selling them for €15. So I know I'm going to let 120 equal to €15. Do you know the next step, Amy? Do you know what I'm trying to do? Sorry, what's the question asking for? Calculate the cost price. So I'm looking for what, Amy? I'm looking for the 100%. And I have 120. So the trick was to divide both sides by whatever number this is here. So what do I divide both sides by? 120, and I get, that's what 1% is. Any cold?
No, it's grand.
So I get 1%. It's always easy to work with 1%, isn't it? What do I multiply? So I want 100%, Amy. So I multiply both sides by 100. So I get 100% is equal to €12.50. So that means the cost price is €12.50. Yeah? Any questions on that? So this is how you do it for the markup. Okay. Are you sure you're okay with that? The next one's just a little bit harder, or different to think about. That's it, yeah. So let me read the question first. It is then decided to sell the goods at 20% margin. Find the new selling price. Okay, here we're dealing with the margin. So before I start, I'm going to write this formula down, just in case I need it. Okay. So in rough English here, the profit is 20% of the selling price. That's what this formula means. Profit is 20% of the selling price, okay? So I know the selling price is equal to cost price plus profit. Isn't that all? That's always the case. Selling price is also equal to cost plus profit. So here, selling price is also equal to cost price plus profit. Okay? Now this might confuse you a little bit. When I'm dealing with margin and doing questions like this, let the selling price equal 100%. Okay? And hopefully you'll see why in a second. So the trick is to let the selling price equal 100%. So Amy, if the selling price is equal to 100%, okay? That means how much profit am I making on this? Do I want to make on this? 20%. So if the selling price is equal to 100%, if the profit is equal to 20%, what does that make the cost price in this case? Okay, do you see why that is? 80 plus 12. This is very confusing, but this is just the trick. When you're dealing with margin, in a question like this, let the selling price equal to 100. In markup, you let the selling price equal 120%. Here, the selling price equal to 100. That means that the cost price has to be 80%. Are you with me? Do we know the cost price? Well, we do, because didn't we find the cost price here? See this 100% here, lads and lassies. Don't mind. This is a different 100% to here. We're starting fresh again. So we got our answer here. This is the cost. So here, that means that our cost is equal to €12.50. Yeah.
What he's making on that is 250 profit.
Here in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a lot, is it? You make more in your cars, yeah?
I don't know if do I think the loser.
Right, okay. So that means, does that mean that cost price is equal to 80%, yeah? So what we do is let 80% equals 1250. Do you know why that, Amy? Do you see where this came from? Sorry, the 1250 is the cost price from the first part of the question. Yeah? 1250, if you do want to write that in, 1250 is the cost price from, we found it already. So now, we're always trying to get, the easiest number to work with is 1, isn't it? So divide by whatever number this is. So we divide both sides by what here, Amy? 80. Because 80 divided by 80 gives me 1, and it's easy to work with 1. That's why we do that. So divide him by 80, he gives me that. What did the question ask for again? Find the new selling price. What is the new selling price in percentage in this question? We call the selling price 100%. So what do we do here, Amy? We multiply both sides by 100. So we know that 100% is equal to €15.63. So this is my new selling price. Any questions on that? Anything at all, Emma?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Amy? It's a bit confusing though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just it's a bit confusing.
I find it easy there now, like, but then if I was put out the question, I'd get confused actually doing all the methods. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I forget to do them.
So the thing, yeah, I know what you're saying, and that's what I have. I've all the exam paper questions, and hopefully when you do enough of them,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
use them.
yeah. So the trick there is margin. When you're dealing with, actually, will you write that in? Oh yeah, sorry, you have that in. The trick is when you're dealing with margin. When you're dealing with margin, call the selling price 100%. Yeah. Compound interest and future values. How are you with these? You're all right, yeah. Okay, so this formula is on page 30 of the log tables. Okay. So what your F stands for final amount, P stands for principal. Principal is the same as initial amount. Initial. I stands for rate of interest, and always get the rate of interest in a decimal form, and T is usually time in years. You okay with that? Right, here's a quick example. Niall borrows €100 for 6 years at an APR. Do you know what APR is? Sorry? Yeah, it just stands for annual percentage rate of 2% compounded annually. How much interest will you pay on the loan? Well, all you have to do is figure out what your F. There's 4 letters. See, there's 4 letters: F, P, I, and T. F, P, I, T. They'll give you 3, and you have to find the other one. Okay, so figure out what you've got. P, we have a P here, the initial amount. So we start off with €100. Would you agree with that? Have we an I? Yeah, we have an interest rate which is 2%, and get it in decimal which is 0.02. And T, have we a time? 6 years. So all you do is plug them into the formula. So kick out P, stick in 100. Kick out I, stick in 0.02. And kick out T and stick in 6. We can do all this on the calculator. What I will say is don't skip any lines. Make sure you write this down on paper as well. Yeah? Just so don't do it on the calculator in your head or you won't get marks for it. Yeah? So then we plug all this into the formula, we get F. So F is equal to our final amount. So after 6 years it'll be €112.62. How much interest will he actually pay on that? Well, the interest is the final value minus the principal. So the final value is 112.62 minus the principal, which is 100. That'll give me €12.62. Are you okay with that one? You sure? Okay, I'll move on. We'll get harder. Okay. Nikki invested 100,000 for 4 years in a variable rate savings account. She was guaranteed an AER. What's AER? Annual equivalent. I think it's annual equivalent rate. I'm not too sure. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the question. Of 3% for the first year. At the start of the second year, the rate of interest is changed to 3.25, and this rate was set for the remainder of the investment period. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of year 1. One thing to note here is what? What's different here in this one? Okay, the rates changed. Okay, so that's why I put this example in here. The rates changed. So let's do the first one. So if the rates change, just be a little bit careful and do it 1 year at a time. Use the formula 1 year at a time. So we'll write out PIT and fill in for what we have. Have we a P here? Initial amount. What we do is 100. Have we an I, Alan? It was 3%, but we want it in decimal form, yeah? And they want the end of the first year, so let's just do T as 1. Is that fair enough? All we do is plug them into the formula and we get a final amount is 103,000. Are you okay with plugging these into the formula? Swapping P for, yeah? Alan?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the end of year 1, 103,000. End of year 1 is another way, is the exact same thing as the beginning of year 2. So whatever we end in year 1, we start in year 2. Okay. So how many years in total was the question talking about? 4. How many years did we do so far here? What have we done to the end of the first year in this part, didn't we? So how many years have we left to do, Amy?
3.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you? Are you sure? So now we're starting off with a new P. Where did this P come from? Well, it came from the end of year 1. Are you with me? Amy, did you get that?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah.
Into year 1. This I, this is a bit different, isn't it? That's because the question, I have a new interest rate. The rate interest changed to 3.25%. Okay? How? So that's my new interest rate, 0.0325. Do you know how I got that number on?
Yeah.
So I did 3.25 divided by 100, and I got that number. T is equal to 3. Why is T equal to 3, Amy?
3 years.
Yeah, we did 1 year already, and we have 3 left. So now I plug these new values. Always, just a bit of advice, always write this out on paper. Don't try and keep these numbers in your head, or it's just helpful to write them out on paper in front of you. Do you know what I mean? Don't try and do it all in your head, or when you're in the middle exam, you'll feck it up. Well, you might. So then, so sub these, are you okay with subbing these into the formula then? Yeah? And I get that number then. That cool?
Yeah.
Any questions? So just watch out for if the interest rates change, just do it 1 year at a time, or 2 years, or whatever. Yeah? And end of year 1 is beginning of year 2. It's the exact same beginning of year 2. What was it? Oh yeah. So then this next question here. Nikki is advised to take out €5,000 at the end of year 1, and that she will still have a final amount exceeding 108,000. Is this advice correct? So what happened here, Alan?
Take out 5,000 at the end of year
Yeah.
1.
So let's do that. She took out €5,000. Let's not do that. So remember we found this in the year 1 before it was 103,000, yeah? So let's take 5,000 out before we go into year 2. Let's take out 5,000. So we do 103 minus 5,000. We're left with what, Amy? 98,000. Now let's begin year 2. So my principal is 98,000. Interest rate is the same, and T is the same. We plug these in. Are you okay with this? Yeah, Alan? We plug them in, and we get F is equal to 107.868. Back to the question. And that she will still have a final amount exceeding 108,000. Is this correct? Do you know what exceeding means?
She's finished.
No, yeah. She'll have an amount exceeding 100. That means greater than 100. Yeah. Exceeding just means greater than 108,000. Is this advice correct? Will she have greater than 108,000? No. So if they did ask you that, you'd write down in English, this advice is not correct because blah blah. Yeah? Amy? You okay? Alan? Okay. Aidan invested money in a 5.5 year bond when he started first. Okay, yeah. Then B beside this one, isn't it? Yeah. The bond matures and he's earned 21% interest in total. Calculate the annual equivalent rate for this bond. First step, always write out the formula. Okay. Where will I find this formula, Emma? Our tables, page 30. Always write out what you have from the question. Okay. So we have 4 letters: F, P, I, and T. What's our P in this case? P stands for principal. What's our initial value here in this case? It's not given. So what will we call it, Emma? X. T, Emma, is what? 5.5. F is equal to. Okay, what do we know? We know the bond matures and he earns 21% interest in total. Okay, We don't know in F a final amount, but what we do know is that, oh yeah, sorry, the original amount plus interest, okay? So, let me see what. So Amy, final amount, is that going to be greater if it's going to have interest? Is it going to be greater or smaller than P? Greater than, yeah. Are you sure you're okay with that? Okay, so we multiply the final amount by 1.21 by x. Do you know where this 1.21 came up from? Yeah, where did this come from? Yeah, I changed it into decimal. See the see when I put 1.21. This is exactly the same thing as getting 21% of x and adding it on. Okay, it's the exact same thing as multiplying by 1.21. If you want to make note of that. You probably, did you know that? So that's where 1.21 came from. I was just being lazy, and instead of calculating, can you see that on? You see? It's just the same thing as finding 21% of x and adding it on. Same thing as multiplying by 1.21. And you know why it's 1.21? Because it's 21%. Yeah? So the final amount is going to be 1.21x. Are you with me on that? And we don't know. See this 21% of interest? Okay, that's not, this isn't, that doesn't mean I is 21. Okay, why Amy? Do you know the difference between this I and that interest? Okay. Let me.
You know that one there in front of the 1 point?
Yeah.
1, 2, how did you get that again? Did you say?
Okay, I'll explain them few things now on this page, page below. Okay, let me do. Okay, so let's see. So f is equal to p and 1 plus I to the power of t. Okay, let's just say p is equal to 100 and f is equal to 200. Okay? Right, what they're saying here, Amy, is that the final amount okay, oh, sorry. Okay, let's just pretend p is equal to 100 and the final amount is 200. Okay, and these unless we're losing money, the final amount is always going to be bigger. Okay, what percentage of the principal is the final amount? And how do we do that? All we do is put 100 over 200 and multiply by 100 over 1. Do you see that? I put the principal over the final amount. Sorry, over the final amount, yeah? And multiply by 100 over 1, and that'll give me, oh, sugar, what'll that give me? That'll give me 50%. Right, let me explain what that means. Sorry. Right, so let's say I go in with 100, Amy. Okay, sorry, let me start again. I go in with 100, come out with 200. Okay, how much money did I make there? Okay, yeah, I start off with my principal is 100. I start off with 100, and then after a certain amount of time, I end up with 200. So how much money did I make? 100. That's the interest I made. I made €100 interest. Okay. What percent? So what I do then? So the interest is equal to. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the right word to use. Done a great job here. So that's how much interest. What percent interest did I made of the? Okay, yeah, let's find the percent interest I made. Well, all I do is how much did I start off with? I started off with 100. Right. I'm just thinking here now. Yeah. So how much interest did I make? I made €100 interest. Yeah. And
I put 100 on one there.
yeah, I put 100, and what was my final amount? It was 200, and I multiplied that by 100, and that'll give me 50%. So this is 50% interest made. So so I made 50% interest. Does that make sense? That doesn't mean I is equal to 50. It just means in the end I made 50% interest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Kind of.
What's
Did that ask you that in the question to get the percentage interest?
no, but it told us here. It told us here, Amy, that he has earned 21% interest in total. Okay, that doesn't mean that I is 21. Okay,
Oh.
it just means that whatever he started off with, he
Oh,
made
yeah.
21% on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Or are you disagreeing with me?
No, it does.
Right, Alan, what was your question there?
That's just why is the one in front of it there?
Oh yeah, okay. So what we could have done was, Alan, so 1.21x. What we could have done was find 21% of x, and then step 2, add the answer to x. Okay, these two steps are exactly the same as multiplying by 1.21x. You not got it, no?
Wait, why is it not just 0.21?
Because I'm... Okay, yeah, good question. Yeah, another page. Why is it not just 0.21?
Yeah, like usual.
Okay, yeah. Principal and final. Which one is going to be bigger here in these cases, Alan? The final, okay? So this is going to be, let's just say, in this case, he earns 120, he earns 21%. No, sure, sorry. In this case, so we start off with 100% here, Alan. And you said the final is going to be bigger. Let's just say he makes 21%. Doesn't that mean that the final is going to be 121%? Yeah?
Oh, right.
But the final, so if you what you're talking about is, why don't we use, if you did use 0.21, that you're saying you come out with less money. You're coming out with 21%.
Yeah, so you're on about kind of the...
I'm
like
adding it on.
That fat crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like adding it. And
All right.
does that make sense?
Yeah, I just didn't kind of catch on the question properly.
No, that's sound. And so what you're saying here, and this is just a quick way of finding 21% of something and adding it on.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I get you.
And the interest rate, we haven't a clue what the interest rate is. How are we for time? Oh jeez. Won't get all this covered today. There's loads in this. So the interest rate is we don't know. Okay? So we plugged in for, okay, so we don't know that. Even though, so what I do is write out the formula and we'll plug in. So F, what have I for F, Amy? X. Don't forget about the X. What have we for P, Emma? X multiplied by 1 plus I. I is what, Alan? Or we don't know, so we'll just leave it as I. And T is 5.5. Watch this. Dim X's will cancel. Okay? Do you see that? So now I have 1.21 is equal to 1 plus I to the power of 5.5. Anyway, do you remember from last week our powers? Okay, here's our little trick. See this? We want to. What are we looking for here? I. We want to get rid of that fella there, 5.5. Okay. So we're going to take the power of 1 all over 5.5. You okay with that, Alan? Whatever number this is, take it 1 over that. So if that was 6, Alan, it'd be 1 all over 6. Are you with me? You do it to both sides. You okay with that, Emma? Yeah. Right. What'll happen then, Amy? This is the rule of indices. We've power to the power. What do we do, Emma? Can you remember? No. No. Sorry? So yeah, you multiply them. So it's 5.5. That could be 5.5 all over 1. Top by top, bottom by bottom, we get 5.5. And here we still have only 1 over 5.5. What's 5.5 divided by 5.5, Amy? Yeah, you're right, yeah. You're right, yeah. So that's the trick, and we got rid of that power. Do you know how to do this on the calculator? Or this one on the calculator? You do 1.21 multiplied by... Do you know how to do the power on the calculator? Yeah. You just do that. Will you do that, Amy? 1.21 to the power of the fraction 1 over 5.5. You're okay with doing this all, yeah? Okay. And that's the trick in this. To get rid of that power, we take 1 all over whatever that power was. You okay with that, Emma? Yeah. So then that by that, so then, yeah, then we get that in the calculator, and all we're doing is solving for what happened? I. And get I in percentage form. Okay? So I is equal to 0.0353. How do I get in percentage? Multiply by 100. You okay with that? Right, we'll move on. Have you any questions on that? That's probably the hardest type 1 you'll get. And you okay? Are you sure you're okay with this, Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. We can also be asked about loans, right? Loans is exactly the same thing. You start off with the number, rates change, okay? It's the exact same thing. I'll look over it. I'll try and get another. It's the same formula, same way to do it. Is that okay? Depreciation. This is just a little bit different. Why? Because depreciation is you're losing money. You'll see depreciation or reducing balance. Okay, so you see, this is just an example. You deliver a limited bought a new delivery van for 25 grand. It's company policy to depreciate delivery vans at a rate of 20% per annum using the reducing balance method. What will the net book value of asset be worth after 3 years? Okay, see this formula? Page 13 of the log tables as well. When you're doing the reducing balance one, it's the one with the minus in the middle. It's the same thing except minus. Right. Because we're reducing this time, which is going to be bigger? Is F going to be bigger than P at the end? It's going to be smaller. It's going to be worth less than your initial because you're losing money. Do you get that, Alan? Yeah. Yeah. So again, FPIT, stick in for what you have, and you should expect F to be smaller.
The
okay?
reason F is small is because it's the minus tower.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And just think of it in common sense. If you're losing money, if you lose €100 a year, it's going to be smaller at the end. Whereas if you're gaining, yeah, the minus is going to be F smaller. So then depreciation is written off as the cost minus the net book. This is the net book value. Okay? And you just do cost minus net book value, and that'll give you your amount of depreciation. So over the 3 years, it lost €12,000. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Right. Here, same one again. same type of thing again. Write out for what you have, FT, IP. You won't have one of them. Okay? So here in this case, we don't have P. So all you do is fill in for what you have. You have P all the way down. And then, how do you find P? Well, how do you find, what's 2x equals 4? How do you find x there? Divide by the number stuck to it. So we want P on its own, so divide everything by this dirty number here, and that'll give you P. You okay with that? And again, don't forget about will you just put in your euro sign. Okay. Do you know how to do ratios?
No, not really.
Okay. Okay, Brian and Eve are given €70 to share. Brian tells Eve that her options are either to share the money in the ratio of their ages, or to share the money in the ratio of 5 to 9 is 4 to 9. What is the better option for Eve? Okay, one thing in maths, Amy, we don't like is what? We don't really like fractions. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the 9 on the bottom. So multiply both sides by 9. What will happen then, Alan? He'll use a pen. He'll cancel with him. He'll cancel with him, and I'm left with 5 to 4. Okay, let's leave the ages part to last. Step 1 is just add the numbers. So 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. Step 2 is find out what one part is worth. Okay, so there's going to be 9 parts. So we want to find out what 1/9 is worth. Are you with me? Amy? Yeah, so it's going to be €70. 70 divided by 9. Don't worry, leave it like that if you want. Step 3 is calculate what each person gets. So Brian gets 5 of this. Okay, so he's going to get 70 over 9 multiplied by 5, which is €38.89. Are you okay with that? Yeah. What does the other girl get? Neve. She gets four of these 9s. Yeah. So she gets one of these by 4, which is €31.11. Right. Now let's do the ratios of their ages. So their ages are 19 is to 16. So we do 19 is to 16. Let's do step 1 again. We add them, get 35. Step 2, find out what one part is worth. So one part is equal to 70 divided by 35. So one part is €2. Now, what does Brian gets? How many of these does Brian get? Brian gets 19 of them. Yeah, Neve gets 16 of them. So which option is better for Neve? First one, yeah. You okay with ratios? Yeah. Okay. Loads of okay. Estimations and approximations. Okay, do you know what? Do you ever hear this before? Relative error equals error over accurate value. Did you ever see this stuff before? Okay, well, all it is
The log table, is that
no, that's a different error. That's probability.
error?
No, that's probability. So okay, so these are the steps. Yeah. So step 1 is get the observed value. Step 2 is subtract the observed value. Step 3, 4. Okay, let's talk through this one. Find the percentage error in taking 1 centimeter for 0.8. So here, the observed value is 1. The accurate value is actually 0.8. Okay. So what error did we make? Do you know what these two lines mean? They mean the absolute value. If you want to write that in. So that means even if I get a negative number inside it, so even if that works out to be just say -2, them lines just get rid of the minus sign and the error is still 2. You with me?
What's the two lines called?
It's called absolute value. And all it does is anything that's inside it gets rid of the minus sign. And you see here, you do the accurate minus the observed, so it's minus 0.8 minus 1, which is minus 0.2, but the lines give you a 0.2. So then you just use this formula, relative error is equal to the error, which is 0.2, all over the accurate value, which is 0.8. And that'll multiply that by 100 to give you 25%. You okay with that, Amy? Yeah. It's only a small thing. Don't dwell on it too much. You okay with that, Alan? Take your time now.
How do you know which one's the error and which one's the accurate value?
Yeah, it's in the English, isn't it?
Well, the way you got that 0.2, is that because the one is a full number, like the other one is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you know which is the accurate the error in taking? I suppose this is the clue here, taking 1 centimeter. So this is the observed, maybe. It's in English. It'll just take a little bit of practice.
Fine.
Is that okay? Yeah. Right. It's 2 o'clock there now. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Will you?
Wait for them to do it.
What? What?
You won't wait to do them now.
No. What? Will you have a? Hello? Hello? Yeah, okay. We just send him up the back stairs. Yeah, sound okay. Cheers, bye. Yeah. Will you for homework? Let me just stop. For homework, will you go through the exam papers and see can you answer any of the questions? You should be able to answer a few of them. Okay. Will you read over? I know there's a lot of work. How are you with work in school? Have you much on? Are you busy with projects and stuff like that? Will you look over them 10 things and see you might understand them? It's about currency exchange and changing meters into kilometers and stuff like that.
What, like look over?
Will you look over the stuff I didn't do? Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. And I'll add you to that Facebook page, Alan. And I have a Facebook page. I put up the recording of the video of what we did.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you can watch it back whenever you want.
Yeah.
And if you want a question answered, just take a picture of the question and post it on the Facebook page.
Oh.
Is that okay?